I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Shelby County Supervisors, it's May 3rd, 2022. Any conflict of interest, gentlemen, on the agenda for today?
None. You on Tony's board recommendations. My wife is to the Board of Adjustment. She will be considered for that, so.
Okay, she'll be abstaining from that.
Yes.
So, okay. Any changes to the agenda, Mark?
No, sir.
I am going to move Brandon Secondary Roads up first thing after the minutes because he has another commitment today. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Charlie, second by Darren. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Chance to look over the claims of April 30th.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Any
Motion
changes to
approved.
that, Mark?
No.
Okay. Motion to approve the claims as presented
So
by
moved.
Charlie, second by Darren. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Chance to look over the minutes from April 19th. Any
Look
corrections? I didn't see anything. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by Darren.
Second.
Second by Charlie. Approve the minutes of April 19th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Brandon, secondary road report.
Morning.
Morning. Yeah,
Warmer seat.
there you go. Good morning.
Good morning. Just brief update from me this morning. Nice rain we got. Hopefully it's rebuilding some of the moisture in the ground, and it's nice it's not dry. It's dry, but if there are any soft spots, let us know. We were out rocking yesterday till it cut us off, and I think the sun's supposed to come out this afternoon, so we'll be out rocking and blading as soon as it's fit. So
It'll be testing some areas.
Yep, it will, but we'll get rock to them as soon as we can, so
Okay.
let us know. And yeah.
Getting out of Denison yet?
Probably the end of the week.
This week?
The end of this week, yeah. There's a new ownership up there.
Oh, really?
Healy sold the site to some new gentlemen, so there's been some coordination, just, with any new ownership. So it should probably be the end of this week. That's the last I had heard from them, so.
Okay.
The bridge crew will start the bridge on 1800 this week, just with the soft roads. We weren't gonna haul the crane out there right now, so whenever it's fit, they're gonna get the crane out there. We're still waiting on the deck, so hopefully they'll have it in, and when the deck shows up, just deliver it to site and get it done, so. And then got a pre-construction meeting with Western Engineering for F58 from the west limits of Elkhorn all the way to Audubon County. It's about 1.5 miles today at 1 o'clock. They called me Friday afternoon. They had a cancellation of a project, so they'd like to do that project potentially starting next week. I'll know more information when we get done with the pre-con with them, but I reiterated to them that Tivoli's Fest is Memorial Day, so let's have everything in town buttoned up, and they thought it'd be 3 days of milling and 3 days of paving, and they'd be completely done, so.
Oh, really?
That shouldn't be any,
Okay.
knock on wood, it shouldn't be any issue.
Should make Oakland happy.
It should, and it'd be nice to get it done before Tivoli Fest. That road's tired and needs some work, so
Yeah.
we'll get it
And
done.
they don't need the curb work like Harlan does.
No, they have some curb work and some sidewalks, but we'll probably get done with paving and then suspend working days. And then when the subcontractor, I believe it's 10 Point Construction, when they're available, they can come back in and we'll start the working days and they'll finish everything else there. So that they kind of floated that, and I'm sure we'll hear more again today at the pre-con. That's get it done here this spring and get it done before there's a conflict, and it'll be a good job done. So.
Okay.
That's all I have for today.
Okay.
Thanks,
You
Brandon.
guys have any questions?
Oh,
Okay. Thank you, sir.
thanks.
Gerald Greer, Department Head Report. Morning, Gerald.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Here's
Thank you.
the report. Mark, do you have one?
Thank you.
And that's just the quarterly report. On one column, you will see the same from last year, the same period last year. We did better this quarter than we did last year. We had probably $8,100 or did $8,100 more this year. And that was in all departments that everything went up, the recordings, the DNR, the sales. Of course, we're renewing boats right now, so that helps with that. But everything, we went up in, I think, just about everything. So that was a good quarter.
Did fees go up, or did fees stay the same?
No, fees stayed
So
the
it's
same.
usually just more.
Right. I think more sales, of course, as far as
More ATVs and more boats out there too.
there are,
People are
yes.
spending money.
There are, yes. And we've done quite well with the resolution that was passed, and so that the $25 that people pay so they can ride on the county roads and in the city limits. However, there is a bill out there right now that's trying to be passed, that if they do pass it, they are going to allow all ATVs to ride on county roads, and
Right.
it sounds
Any county.
like they might, like any county that has a resolution in place, that it might do away with that because the state will allow.
Make it
So
uniform.
we'll have to see what happens on that.
How many permits do you think you've issued to those?
Oh, man,
Is there a separate line item for it?
yeah,
on
it should
there?
say on their user permits.
Yep, UTV.
Yeah.
825 and you're charging 25, so
Right, and we've done more every year since we've had that,
Okay.
because
That's just one quarter.
yeah, that's
Oh, that's
just the
just one
quarter,
quarter.
that's 1/4, right, because I've had to order more decals every year, I think, okay,
So then that would be discontinued if the state thing goes in?
I think so. They're talking about that, and I think they're saying that if the state passes the law, then the counties that have this in place,
you're saying we won't be able to charge for it?
correct,
It'll just,
right.
but the
Or
state,
you'll
but the
charge
state
for it, it
will.
goes to the state.
No, we wouldn't be able to charge for it.
Seriously.
Yeah, so that's still, it's still in the works, it hasn't quite passed yet, but I'll let you know what happens with that.
Okay,
They're trying to get it to maybe grandfather in the ones who have a resolution, and so that we would be able to continue, but the state, the way it is right now, the way the law is written right now, no, it would not. So, other than that, boats, this is the year to renew your boats, they were all due April 30th. The penalty doesn't actually go on until July 1st, but you cannot have your boat on the water unless it's renewed. So now, right now, if your boat is not renewed and you put it on the water, you will get a fine if they pick you up. So you can renew it through the office, you can renew it through the mail. They also have a hard card now, kind of like a credit card for boats, that it's an extra $5. Again, that's something new, and you can order one of those for $5, and then every 3 years when you renew your boat, you'd have to get a new hard card too. It has all your boat information on it, but you still have to keep your paper documentation if you're going to sell your boat. So that's something new on that. Our scanning project, so we did hire Cont to go ahead and put all of this in the searchable format. I had not heard anything from them in quite some time, so when I was at the ISAC convention, I talked to Don, who was our salesperson. He put me in touch with the project manager, and I talked to him on the phone, and then I talked to him again yesterday. He said they have all our index books finished, but they're trying to sort through, when we scanned these, of course, we did it not having that in mind. So they're trying to sort through all of our record books now to get them in order and get them in place. So he said he didn't have a timeline for me. He was hoping in a couple months, but he said it was a little more more to it than what they thought originally. So I'll just keep reaching out to them and see. Evidently once they start that, they don't really keep in contact with you. They just do it until they get it done, but I'll just keep reaching out to them to see how they're doing with it.
That quote was fixed, wasn't it? It wasn't
Yeah.
based on any.
It was fixed, yes.
That's a
Yes.
good thing.
Yes, yes.
refresh my memory, what was the initial supply on completion?
6 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think they said 6 months. So, I mean, we're still
Yeah.
Couple
within the
months,
time limit, yeah, so.
Okay.
That's not big.
And the only other thing I have is my office did create a Facebook page, Shelby County Recorder, for anybody who wants to go out there and like that page and follow that page. We've been trying to put points of interest for the public on there, like about the boat renewals. We posted that about the boat renewals and how to renew your boat. We were closed April 19th for a training and that all three of us went to, and we posted that on that website. So just to get out there and kind of like the page, and then it'll keep you up to date. We put on there about the closings of the bathrooms, so if anybody needs help figuring out,
Those hunting license information.
Right. So it's just under Shelby County Recorder, so check out the Facebook page.
I would just note on this also, county fees increased 8,000, but you brought an extra 46,000 for the state. Doesn't seem fair, but.
It does not, it does not. But we're basically there for customer service, so.
Is that on the website, the new page you put together? It's on our county website?
A
It's
link.
not, it's a Facebook page and it's not, but.
You could link it, couldn't you?
Can we link that?
I would look into that. That'd be good.
Taryn,
I'll ask Karen.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, John. Next on the agenda.
need a motion on that, or is that an action? Okay.
Okay. Next, we have appointment as zoning board members. Tony? Good morning.
Good morning, Tony.
Will give us a little background here?
So for the unincorporated areas, i.e. anything outside of the city limits, the county is responsible for zoning. And several years ago, the legislature changed the rules where anybody on the two boards that oversee zoning the members of those boards have to live inside those areas governed, which makes sense. But it also is a little bit more challenging when over half of our population lives in a town of some sort, and a lot of them that don't, are farming and things like that as well. So regardless, between that and COVID and so on, we've been short on both of those boards, and we finally have a slate of members for both of the boards here that I'm asking for appointment by the board today. The first is the Zoning Commission, and this is the group that reviews and makes recommendations to the Board of Supervisors issues regarding the zoning ordinance itself. So any changes in the rules, any updates to a map, as far as what, something's zoned A1 or commercial or whatever, for zoning purposes, not for assessor purposes, but for zoning purposes, for use purposes, this is the board that would review those things. That board, I think, will be a little bit more busy this summer as there's a few issues that need to be addressed and updated in our ordinance. First of all, there's the ongoing effort to try to clarify and make it a little bit more friendly to small business and allow those, the small mom and pop type operations out there, but at the same time prevent a mega superstore from building across the road from your house. So it's a balance between being fair and legal and not discriminating, but at the same time having the type of businesses that people envision that they want, and not necessarily every single one of them out there. There also gets to be the challenge too of like the adult-oriented businesses. Some of the zoning ordinance when it was put into place was because of some concerns, some proposals for some adult entertainment type businesses in the rural areas some years ago. So you have to try to write it where you're not necessarily discriminating against the type of business, but allowing for the type of businesses that we want. So that's one of those challenges to balance, and we'll try to take some more stabs at that. And there's also the wind tower issues. Shelby County still doesn't have any of the commercial style wind turbines. We're getting surrounded by them though. A few years ago, when I talked to some higher ups at Mid-American, they said our county was not a good candidate because we don't have any major transmission lines that run between like major metropolitan areas or so on. So if you look at the fields down in Potawatomi County down by Walnut, they're actually run off of a major east-west transmission line that goes like between Omaha and Des Moines and all the way to Chicago, I believe. That said, it doesn't mean they couldn't start building into the county and building feeder lines to that as well. So we do need some more specifications in place on what it would take to build wind towers and what sort of local control that we would have. And so we need to be looking at that. Another issue that hasn't really come to play in Shelby County yet, but we are seeing out there elsewhere in Iowa, are solar farms of large arrays of solar panels. An example is if you've been up in Denison by the REC office, you'll see a bunch of in front of them. My understanding is our local RECs looked into a couple locations for a small project like that, but nothing's come to fruition. But in eastern Iowa, there's several proposed projects that involve several hundred acres of solar panels. And so the ordinance needs to try to address that as well.
And what would we address in those ordinances, Tony? I mean, is that something that, let's say we did know that they wanted to come to town, is that something we would put to the vote to the public, whether or not they want them in the area?
Well, first of all, the rules need to be in place before they come, because if they say they're coming, you can't just suddenly write the rules.
Right.
So, everybody has to have,
Distances.
it's sort of like a football game, everybody knows the rules when you show up for the game. We can't say there's a game Friday and then make up football rules.
But how do you write the rules if you don't know what the public's opinion is?
They're public hearings.
Yeah, there would be public hearings. There's a lot of counties that have been going through different things positively and negatively out there already, and they've done a lot of groundwork and legwork, so there's a lot of language that's been written and court cases that have been gone through that would be a good guide on where we want to go. And so, I would try to put some of that together, working with this board. They would make recommendations to you, but ultimately it's up to the Board of Supervisors what you want to do. And I would, of course, recommend public hearings if you felt that was controversial, and so on there. And so the members that have agreed to serve and that I'm recommending for appointment today would be Dwayne Eric, Roger Kinkle, Kirk Peterson, Keith Burchett, Joanne Barkenquist, Stacy Ferry, and Sean Carter. And then the second board is the Board of Adjustment, and this is the board that basically looks at issues and exceptions in specific instances with the zoning ordinance. So it might be a case of the setback requirements 20 feet, and because of some reason they were wanting to have only a 15-foot setback. Or maybe they wanted to do something that's not a allowable use in a particular zoning district, but might make sense with a conditional permit. Like, you could have this retail store in this A1 agricultural area if, there's so many provisions for parking and restroom and your hours of operation are this and so on, so, that type of stuff. And so this is the board that would meet to look at individual considerations and variances on specific instances there. And the 5 people that I'm recommending for that would be Jason Kopiaz, Betty Larson, Vicki Arrett, Robert Burton, and Tammy Hickey.
Do these people have terms?
They do have terms. I don't know off the top of my head what they are.
Okay, and everybody's been contacted,
They have all expressed willingness at some point or another, yes.
Okay. What do you think the terms are that they have to would be reappointed? I mean, is it 2-year
I
term?
think they're lifetime, aren't they?
Don't really know.
I hate to speculate. 4 to 5 years comes to mind, but then a couple of the other boards I work with on the assessor
Do
side.
they
of that,
rotate?
so. I don't think they do. I don't think.
Could you let us know?
Yeah, I sure can.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess it would have been good to know what you were pointing them to. I'm sorry I didn't have that.
No, that's just
Yeah,
curious.
you usually want them staggered, don't you, so they don't all go off at the same time.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. Gene, do you know how it works with your boards?
Yes, there's both planning and zoning commission as well as board of adjustment. Happy to send both of those to you.
But do you happen to know if they're like staggered terms or for so many
They
hours? Okay.
I couldn't, so when they were first appointed, they were
That's fine, we're-
potentially staggered.
At one point, if you could just send us, what the terms are.
We're just happy to have them on there.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
No,
And they can generally serve a maximum of 2 terms, and I believe they're 3 and 4 year, but I'd be happy to get that to you.
Yeah, and I have access to it in my office too. Very likely it's the same rules.
Sure.
It'd be in the directory information. if there was a
Yeah.
term.
That's a good point. It's too early to think about leaving, so.
Could do this all in one motion.
Let's do the zoning commission first, because there's no conflict there.
Okay, I'll make the motion to accept.
Second?
Motion by Charlie, second by Darren, to accept the recommendations of the 7 individuals for the zoning commission. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Now we need a motion for the 5 individuals for the Board of Adjustments.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Yes.
Darren? Okay. Conflict of interest. Thank you, sir.
Would you get a quick office update while I'm here? Or
Sure.
Not
Go
on the
ahead.
agenda,
Okay.
but.
No, no.
Okay, so we sent out around 225 assessment notices. This is a non-reassessment year, so the only things that had changes were things where the property changed, new construction, something was removed, remodeling, those type of things. Yesterday was the deadline to file an appeal, and we only had one, and it's a continuation of a pending appeal from last year, CDS. So that worked really relatively well. If I had reset values for January, like we will have to do next year, based on last year's sales, and keep in mind that we had increased depending on where you were in the county, the typical property, the typical house, the typical residential property a year ago, January, went up between 10 and 35%. If I had to reset it again, county average would have been 20% more this year. And so far in the first 3 months, it's not going down. So we'll see what happens. When we reset it for the next January, it'll be based on what happens in this calendar year. But so far, sales are telling us we're 20% too low.
You said these new assessments you sent out, you send those out based on construction. Do you also send those out if it has changed hands, sales?
No.
No, okay.
If there's a significant difference in what someone paid versus what our assessed value is, that sometimes throws a red flag where we want to give it some attention. Has something changed about the property we didn't know?
Okay.
Did they do a remodel that we didn't have reflected? Or did was it a rental and it's not in that great a shape or whatever? That said, when the typical sales coming through at 20% more, no, we're,
Okay.
at some point this year, we will visit at least the exterior of all of them, just to make sure as we're resetting our statistics and numbers that we're based, we've got the right physical characteristics of the property as we're trying to figure out how far off we are. But state code and proper appraisal practice, even if you talk to a private fee appraiser, the sale cost isn't necessarily the value. And that is something that I have that conversation with the public a lot. The assumption is if I pay $100,000 for it, that's what it's worth. The buyer and seller said that. Well, no, that was the agreed upon sale price. It may be the value. It may also be one of you got a good deal in that equation. It does get factored into all of the other sales that helps us determine it. But again, we have to come up with formulas we can use to value everything, whether it's sold or not. And so it has to be a consistent statistical analysis. Instead of this one sold for so much a square foot and that one sold for so much a square foot, we need to kind of find that median and then apply it universally. The other thing that's going on right now is the commercial reappraisal project. So like a few years ago when we had appraisers going through all of the homes and asking to actually take tours inside, and they were verifying the dimensions and so on outside. Since sometime in February, there's been, depending on the day, 2 to 3 folks out there visiting the commercial and the commercial, industrial, and multi-residential properties. So your businesses, like your grain elevators, your apartment buildings, your mobile home parks, things like that. They've been visiting all of that to get current physical information.
Countywide.
Countywide. And that's going really smoothly. They're about 2/3 done. And very little question. Occasionally while the business owner call and just verify it's legitimate. But for the most part, very little controversy or concern.
Cooperation.
Good cooperation. And sort of makes sense. I mean, if you have a business, particularly if it's open to the public, you're used to people coming in, and probably helps a little bit compared to someone wanting to tour your house with you. So, and then those new values will go on next January as well. So we'll have new values next January. We'll have a new cost manual that we'll have to apply based on the state cost manual, which even if your value doesn't change, the way I calculate it has to be run through the new manual. So things will shift around a little bit. And then we'll have to reflect for whatever sales do for this current calendar year. So should be interesting this time next year. And then I guess the last major news event is the part-time position that Mark and I shared. That person has chosen to do something different, so that position's open right now. So we're looking for a person that'd work about, on average, 30 hours a week, shared between Mark and myself, the office with me. It's a great environment. I mean, you get to work with me, so.
How long is that position open? Till it's filled, or?
We're interviewing now, but until it's filled.
Okay.
So if someone is
You need some
interested,
applicants?
we do have some applicants, and we've got an interview today, for instance.
I was surprised.
Okay.
It was a good response.
But the door's still open if someone's interested in that, so.
Okay.
All right. Thank you,
Thank you
John.
for your time and putting all that together.
Thank you for your patience.
Okay. Next on the agenda, anybody have any supervisor committee reports?
None.
No.
I don't have any reports on my regular jobs. I just want to give just a little briefing. We started, and Alex, why don't you just come up here for a minute? Because you're going to hear a lot of this over the next year or two, probably.
If not longer, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll just start it off by EMS. We're trying to look ahead on what the ambulance service is going to look like here in the next couple years. Reasons being, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, EMS, it's always been a hot button issue and the topic throughout the state for at least since I started with EMA. There is currently in Shelby County an ambulance commission that has a contract with a private service, which is Medevac. That commission is made up of the city of Harlan and the hospital. That contract is coming to term on in 2026, and it's looking like the current existing person who's contracting will not be renewing it. So we're wanting to, if not sooner than 2026. So we're trying to stay ahead of the game and plan for what EMS could look like in Shelby County so we don't lose any functionality or any response that we currently have. And that's kind of where we sit right now.
And also the problem with the number of EMTs and volunteers out in the outlying community.
Yep, that's volunteers are very short right now. We're seeing a lot of them age out. I can tell you, Jordan yesterday did a poll of all of the EMTs in Shelby County. The average age of an EMT or paramedic is 51. We have 49 of them, which is about one EMT for every 240 people in the county. This is not a Shelby County problem. It's a state of Iowa problem and a nationwide problem. But yeah, we're trying to recruit volunteers so that they can get them in town. But the problem is there aren't a lot of people willing to volunteer.
Right. There was actually an article in the World Herald Sunday. I don't know if you've seen that. Was it Sanborn?
Sanborn, and there's another one that I was reading when you.
Yeah, they're having the same problems, the EMTs, and actually they're down to one. And it happens to be a lady that works in City Hall, so she's really not available during the day too much, and she's the only one, and that's what the article is about it's a crisis.
We
out
actually
there.
have some communities here thinking outside the box,
So,
though,
yeah.
Shelby and.
Shelby actually, Shelby hired a paramedic that works in town. He's a city employee / a paramedic, so he'll mow lawns, do meter readings and things, and if there's a call during the day, Monday through Friday, his duty is to respond to that call. Like Shelby, last night we attended Elkhorn City Council meeting and they approved to hire an EMT / city employee for Elkhorn as well. Those are two of our more remote areas in the county where it takes the ambulance service out of Harlan longer time to get there. So that will drastically improve their responses during the day. When you're on 911 with somebody who's having a heart attack and you're on the phone with them for 25 minutes waiting for an ambulance to get there, it seems like a lifetime. Not only for the dispatcher, but especially for the person who's on the end of the phone. So,
And like everything else, expenses are going up so much,
they are
and getting people.
Yep, and quite frankly, the number of Medicare and Medicaid runs that these ambulance departments are doing is going up. The significance of that is you might bill $1,500 for an ambulance response and Medicaid or Medicare pays $200. Because they just say that's right, you can write that off, you don't have to pay that. And there's nothing really you can do about it. So the cost of supplies are going up, but the billing reimbursements are going down. So it's a unique
So there's not
situation.
gonna be any private contractors to choose from anymore, is what you're saying.
From the research we've done, there are not very many private contractors who want to do 911. And the ones who are doing 911 response are charging an outstanding amount or looking at getting out of it.
Or they're just doing transfers.
Yeah, the money is being made in the patient transfers where you go from a private care facility to a hospital, or a hospital to a hospital. So,
And I see this problem not being solved here in the real short term. Going to take a lot of education, and continue to do what we're doing is probably not in the cards. It's going to have to change, whether we like it or not. And what that looks like, we have no idea. So we're trying to get all the players together and come up with a game plan, so.
So will our service for sure be through 2026? If they can?
that's what their contract is through. They do
they-
have an exit clause.
They do.
They have to give 60 days notice. Now, I don't know, I don't want to make any guesses
that's
on
not their
anything.
intent.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I think when we had our meeting, they said that they would be willing to exit the contract if we had a viable solution to, again, or, different than what we currently do.
Yeah, they're trying to be great for the community and trying not to put us in a bind, so,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Also, I'll be participating in a briefing at noon today, and I'll be getting back to Marcus after that meeting. It's on carbon pipeline ordinances around the state, and educating supervisors about, we all know there's a lot of requirements coming if this goes through, but what that looks like, and trying to prepare counties for what their ordinance need to be looking like. So I'll get to you after that meeting and see what we need to be doing. There's so much out there. So, you guys have anything else?
No.
Okay. Todd Bellini, Shelby County Chamber update. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Todd? Some events just wanted to make you and the public aware of this morning. First, we were very, very happy we were able to go back and do an event that we hadn't done for a couple of years, called the Fun China Luncheon, and we did it for Administrative Assistance Day. The event went off very well, well attended. Thanks to all the businesses, they come in and they decorate tables, individuals and businesses do, and people sit at those tables and have lunch, and those tables are usually themed, and it's kind of nice, so really enjoyed that. And Molded Products won the best table, and one of the things we added to this event, since we were bringing it back, is we actually put together a traveling trophy, so they've got that trophy in their offices right now, and we'll see how that goes over the next few years. We will be hosting a candidate forum for the upcoming June primary. We've invited the candidates for Shelby County Supervisor and Shelby County Treasurer to appear. We're working on finalizing the date. It'll be the week of May 23rd. I'm just waiting to hear back from a couple of the candidates because I gave them, a couple of days to choose from. The annual Chamber Golf outing will be held Friday, May 20th. We're going to hold it out at the North Course, the Shelby County Course. Shotguns start at 5:30. Cost is $50 per person or $200 per team. And you can just give us a call at the chamber to get involved with that at 755-2114. Reminder that this week we're celebrating a couple of different weeks. This is Teacher Appreciation Week, so make sure you thank the teachers here in Shelby County for all the great work that they do. And it's also National Small Business Week, so if you've got a teacher you're thinking, spend a little bit of money locally with our businesses and give them a gift. And then finally, there's going to be the Trail of Fire fundraising concert. So this is a fundraising concert that's going to be for the Shelby County Trails as well as Panama's Fire Department. It's going to be June 4th in Panama at the ballpark. It'll be $15 per ticket. We'll have Dylan Bloom and Luke Mills performing. And you can get tickets from any Shelby County Trails committee member, or you can also pick them up at Panama Transfer. And that's it.
Okay.
So you got enough money for another mile of road, right? Is it? Have they started on that?
Not yet.
Okay.
But there are a couple of grants out there that we've put in for that if we get them,
Okay.
we'll be able to, continue to go.
There is in MAPA, there's extra money in TAP if they want to apply for it.
They've put that application in, and then also the state application, I think, is due maybe beginning of June. So we're getting that application together. And then there's a new program that the IEDA put out called Destination Iowa. And there's different categories that you can apply for, and there's one that works really well for trails too. And this is more of it's a two-part thing. They're trying to attract people to Iowa, not just to visit Iowa, as well as get people within Iowa to move around and go see different things that are within the state, more staycation type stuff. So, so we're taking a look at those too.
Good.
All right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thanks, Tom.
Next on the agenda is we need to declare lost revenue funds for ARPA. You've heard us talk about this a lot in the last 6 months. We originally estimated that our lost revenues for the county was going to be $444,000. We're actually coming in at $255,000. That's what this resolution is today. And the $255,000, excuse me, will be placed in our capital account, which we're using to offset property tax askings. We actually have $130,000 we put in this year's budget, not this year's, this coming year, starting July. That will be used for capital that we didn't have to tax for. So, would you like to read the resolution, Mark?
Sure. And one thing that needs to be clarified or should be, and it is just my understanding, county supervisors or Shelby County received a little over $2 million, and the county is, they have the ability to claim all that money to spend themselves. The supervisors has decided not to do that, and for just to claim some of the money for capital projects, not the whole thing. The difference in all this is we can claim the money, but it has to be spent just like we would tax dollars, exactly like tax dollars would be spent. If you give it away as ARPA awards, you have to follow the ARPA guidelines.
Sure.
And every organization that gets the money must follow those guidelines. Shelby County, then there's a third option. Shelby County has applied to itself and received ARPA awards, and we have to comply with ARPA as we do those projects also. So there's 3 different ways of spending that money, and this is just declaring an amount that the supervisors feel is just and for projects that need to be done. The resolution reads, the resolution allocating American Rescue Plan Act funds, whereas in March 2021, the federal government established the American Rescue Plan Act, which included the Corona, state, and local fiscal recovery funds to provide state, local, and tribal governments with resources needed to respond to the pandemic and its economic effects. And whereas the U.S. Department of Treasury issued an interim final rule implementing the SLFRF program on May 10th, 2021, which included replacing lost revenue to county governments. And whereas on January 6, 2022, the program included authorization for counties to allocate up to $10 million, and Shelby County, of course, was not awarded that much, of their total allocation as lost revenue to spend on government services. Now therefore be it resolved that Shelby County Board of Supervisors approves allocating its total SLFRF allocation in the expected amount of $255,000 as lost revenue to spend on government services to residents. Hereby resolved by the Shelby County Board of Supervisors.
Pretty straightforward. Any questions, guys?
Yeah.
Have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Charlie. Second by Darren. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Mark. Appoint Deputy Sheriff. We have a resolution before us, number 2022-26, A resolution appointing deputy county officials for the 2022 calendar year, be it resolved. Neil?
I think I gave it to Mark, didn't I, Mark?
Yeah.
The form. Is that for Lee?
This is for Lee White.
Yeah. So recently we've hired a new deputy, and every time we hire him, I have him sworn under oath and sign a separate contract. It's a yearly contract. He's gonna be a little behind the 8 ball. We do him in January, but he was recently hired with us. And I just wanted to get it on in front of you guys and get your blessing to go ahead and move forward and sign off on him under his oath and contract.
Okay.
He has sworn his oath to me already. He's been sworn in. He's been with us about a week and a half now. He's doing a real good job. He replaced a resignation of Deputy Burks, and we currently have an opening. We just closed it last Friday to replace Kelly Lefebvre, who retired from us last the 14th.
So you did get that filled?
We're opening. We just closed it on Friday.
Okay.
So I've got 8 to 10 applicants now
Okay.
that will go through.
I was gonna ask you.
Some certified, some non-certified, but we'll go through that and find our best fit. So,
Okay. Okay.
but at this point in time, I just want a contract for Lee White signed.
And Lee White is coming from,
He is. He's come from the police department. He's been here for a couple years,
okay.
and he's joining our office over there. He'll be in training for a while. We call it FTO, field training. He'll be under some veteran guys' wings for a while, and we actually have Deputy Paisley as a K-9 handler for us, but he's also our field training officer. He'll be with him, mirroring his steps and learning the county. So, but just wanted to have him signed off on for today.
so you're not having trouble getting people to apply for it?
Well, you know, like I said, I've got 8 to 10 for Kelly's retirement, which kudos to him, 23 years for the county in law enforcement. He decided to go ahead and retire. And I got 8 to 10 applicants, but in the past, when I've retired or opened for that same position, I've had 40 to 50. So
So it's down.
it's down. It's down, yeah. And, you know, Omaha, I just heard that they'll hire, they do an academy of about 50 at a time when they hire. Omaha Police Department does. And currently, I think they've only got 250 apps for some openings out there. So it's across the state, it's in the country, so.
It's kind of understandable the way things are going.
Yeah, it is, and you know, but it's not gonna help,
I know.
because you have less selection now also.
That's true.
So, and then on another note, just real quick, it is Correction Officer Appreciation Week as well as Teacher Appreciation Week. So, it is the week of appreciation.
It is.
Now, how come Todd failed to mention that?
Well,
How come it wasn't in his, huh?
Some sheriff's department didn't put it out.
Oh,
You know what, it's been on Facebook, it's Sunday, it's on social media.
well, you have my appreciation.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Always.
No problem, guys, but.
So do we have a motion to approve the deputy county official being Lee White?
Yes, motion.
Motion by Darren, or Charlie, excuse me. Second by Darren. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, sir.
guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. Now, just one update. The sewer line, I see the street's closed, putting in sewer line from the courthouse to the main. That's supposed to be done this week.
And I,
I mean, that's the game plan.
they said there was a possibility of one day. I told everybody for. So, I mean, the street wouldn't be repaired and all that, but
At least you can get around
But
this.
as far as no water, no sewer in the courthouse, I told everybody 4 days, plan on 4 days.
Well, it's an inconvenience, but at some point, it has to happen. We've been doing a lot of updates with the sewer inside the courthouse.
Yeah.
We have one project left in there, and then the one coming out, and we should be good.
Like
with
this?
this.
The one recommendation that all three of you should know at the same time and in this setting, it's perfect. Landscaping outside, it's just starting to develop. It was done, what, 92?
Yeah.
Was that when they did everything? It's just starting to sink along the foundation and that, and there's a low place right beside the foundation. The bushes were planted in 92, I'm guessing.
Actually, 91.
91,
Yeah,
getting ready for it.
yeah.
But they, getting ready for the centennial. When we tore out the downstairs bathroom, there were bush roots coming through the wall. And maybe some of that should be considered to be redone and get things sloping away. 30 years is a long time for landscaping, it just is. So,
91 doesn't sound like 30 years ago, but
I know.
it is.
I know.
So can you get a couple people to take a look at that and,
Yeah, I asked the guy to get me a
This
bid,
summer.
he said he'd get right back, and of course that didn't happen.
yeah. It's probably best for them to get us bids in the fall or something, or winter when they're not quite as busy.
No,
Yeah, it's something we need to have on our agenda.
Yes.
They're gonna
Yep.
start getting busy now.
Thanks for the update. Does anybody have anything out there they want to talk about? Jenny, I see you're here. I don't see that face at our meetings too often. Did you have something?
No, I just came to see it because I haven't been to one yet, so.
Okay.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We're going to be recessing here because we're going to have an ARPA workshop with the goal at our next meeting to bring back recommendations from, we have $991,000 of requests for $348,000 of ARPA money. We plan to go through all those requests at our meeting, at our workshop here after this meeting, and then bring it back to our goal at the next meeting.
Yeah.
There'll be no action item or anything at our workshop. Okay? Okay, with that, we will take a recess and we will convene our workshop. Thanks everybody for coming today.